welcome back to my channel and welcome to day 24 of Vlogmas. I cannot believe that it is almost over, but I am so excited about this video. I started filming these goal check-in videos really for myself. Truthfully and honestly, I started these videos for accountability for myself. Having to sit here and explain to you how my month went, how my goals went, and what I have done for the next month, what I have set up, holds me accountable. And I needed that. I really, truly needed that in 2019. And so I'm so thankful that you enjoyed these videos and continue to watch them because I really needed them. I needed them in my life to provide that accountability for me. And I'm excited to continue them. I still think I need them on some level, although I have really just gotten into a groove and I feel really confident about the internal motivation that I have going right now to really accomplish my goals and do some great things next year. But I also love hearing from you. I feel like talking through my goals, some things come up that I didn't think about. And then you provide these amazing recommendations and suggestions that have absolutely changed my world. And so I am so excited to continue sharing my goals with you. And this one's kind of weird because it's a transition between December and January. And originally I wasn't gonna do it this way. Originally I was going to do a December check-in video and just talk about December and kind of wrap up 2019. And then I was going to do a 2020 goals and a January video and put those two things together. But the more that I thought about it and the way that the timing worked out, it just didn't really make that much sense. I had my 2020 goals done and set and I was ready to share them and excited to share them with you. And it was still really early in December. It's still kind of early in December to be filming this video, which is something else I'm going to talk about. But either way, it just felt like I should keep the setup the same. And December check-in and January looking forward should be together just like every other month throughout this year. Now, the only difference is the overarching goals that I had that inspired my actions in December are different than the ones that are inspiring my actions in January. But it doesn't matter. Goals are goals, and I'm excited to share all of my progress with you. So let's start by talking about December. I don't even have to have my old power sheets because I actually ripped out my December tending list. Clearly it didn't help me all that much, but let's talk about what I did do and what I learned during the month of December. So the first monthly action item was birthdays. That was something that I did. Got the December birthday cards and gifts in the mail. There weren't too many, truthfully, but I did the couple that I had. All right, the second one on the list is venue tours. Currently not shaded in because I haven't done it yet, but something I desperately needed to do. And I actually texted my mom this morning and I was like, Mom, I need your help. When I get to Chicago, we need to do this because we're gonna show up in Austin with no venue tours if I don't get this together. And the reason I haven't done it is not because emailing a venue and scheduling a tour is hard. What I haven't done and what I'm not excited to do is cut venues. So my list right now is about 11 and we are not visiting 11 in person, it's not happening. So we need to cut some and then schedule appointments with the ones that we actually want to see. And I want Sam's opinion as well, even though we did have a pretty lengthy conversation about the entire vision for the event. And so I think he trusts me that I'm gonna schedule venues that fit within that vision because we're on the same page with that. So I don't necessarily know that I need to touch base with him on every single one and cutting them for whatever random reason I decide, but it has to get done. It has to get done in December because we are going to Austin in like 3 weeks. All right, the next one was getting my ears cleaned, and I appreciate all the supportive comments from the last video that were like, girl, do it. You either did it yourself or you know someone who has this issue and that it's life-changing. It did not happen in December. The work was crazy, life was crazy, it just didn't happen. I am putting it on my to-do list for January, and that's something I want to touch on briefly. We talked about this at Cultivate Your Year Live, about the difference between your goal action items and your tasks, because there are some things that you need to do on a monthly basis or a weekly basis or a daily basis, and while you probably could fit them into a goals category, they also just might be something you need to do and they just need to get on your to-do list. And for me, that thing in January is just gonna be scheduling doctor's appointments. I need to schedule my annual checkup. I need to schedule my eye exam. I need to schedule my ear cleaning appointment. And I'm just gonna put that on my to-do list for January and not include it as part of my tending list because while yes, it's important and I could stuff it into physical health if I wanted to, it's a task that I need to do. It's not this like necessarily life-changing goal. All right, the next two was to get the Christmas list done, which was the gift list, and then to send out the Christmas cards. I gave myself the coloring in for the Christmas cards, but as of the time of filming this video, they are not in the mail because I never actually got stamps. Sam got stamps today, so they will be in the mail before we leave for Chicago, but I gave myself the color in after I wrote on them and put them in the envelopes with the addresses. They're just missing stamps. Okay, the next one is 2020 planning, and I've talked about this in a number of different videos at this point, and I didn't color this in because I didn't feel like I finished it. It's something that I'm gonna work on while we're traveling. I'm gonna take my little 2020 petite planner with me and work on it. I just didn't get to it in December and I just didn't prioritize it. All right, the next one is the 2020 goals and 2020 book list. They kind of go together. So I did my 2020 goals. That video went up last week. If you didn't see it, I would highly recommend you go check that out, especially because some of my January goals might confuse you if you haven't watched that video yet. And then my 2020 book list, when I put this down on my December tending list, I just thought I wanted to make an overarching book list. I just thought that I wanted to have like a list. Last year I split them up between fiction and nonfiction, and that was the only split. Actually, I also split them between you already own this book, read the one that you own, and you should go rent this from the library. But I didn't really split them up into anything different than that. And the way I made the list was just kind of either books I owned and I really needed to read, or books I felt like reading or somebody had recommended, or was the hot book at the time. There was no rhyme or reason to the books that I was choosing to read last year. And I talked about this on my video last week, but this year what I decided to do is read books that go with my goals. So I'm gonna read books that match up with my goals for the year and then specifically for the quarter. So last week I did share the 8 books that I'd like to read in quarter 1, but here I'm gonna show you my book list. And I decided to use a notebook from Erin Condren. I was gonna do it in the notes pages, but there's just so many that I wanted it to have its own notebook. And then I figured I could also, if there's like a quote from the book I really like, I'm gonna use this to take notes as well. So all I did, I just started writing. Also, this quote is so freaking appropriate for what the book is. So at the top of each page, I just wrote the overarching theme, and then I wrote down all the books that I want to read. They are in basically no particular order. The quarter 1 book I put at the top for all of them. Everything else is just kind of in a random order. There's no particular order. So we have physical health, which is, 1 full page. We have mental health, which is also 1 full page. We have Plan with Lakin related books, which actually isn't all that many. I need to work on that list. We have routines, which is a pretty decent amount, not quite a full page. We have memory keeping and crafting, which has 3 books on it. I asked for recommendations for those last week too. Declutter and purging, same thing. There's not a whole lot of books there. Friendship, we have 1 full page. Marriage, we got a page and a half, which I'm really appreciative of because I have a feeling this is going to carry into next year. And then I have just fiction and fun, and there's like 2.5 pages of fiction and fun books that I just want to. I want to also be reading for fun as well, and not just like personal development books. The next one was to get a Erin Condren Petite Planner coiled. Oh, guys, I am so excited to use this planner. I'm so pumped. If you saw the vlog where I made it, some things went wrong. It's not perfect. It is not even close to perfect, but I think that it's going to be an amazing setup and make just my productivity skyrocket next year. And then the last one was to work on my notes pages, and that one is not colored in, and I'm blaming that one on USPS. So I've decided to use the Moxie Life Planner next year as my overall weekly planner. And when I originally got the 2 planners for review, she asked which cover I wanted on which layout. And I thought that I was gonna prefer the yellow because I thought it would match the coil better. So I got the vertical yellow and the horizontal blue. And then she sent them to me and I reviewed them. And then after I decided I was gonna use it, I was kind of looking at them again and I was like, man, I want the blue. I really want the blue cover. And I messaged her and she was like, I'll send you one. I'll send you a blue vertical and you can gift and give away the other ones. And I was like, great. And it's still not here. I have not been able to set up my notes pages because my planner's not here. So same thing, this is something I definitely still want to do, but it is not gonna be a goals related thing. It's just gonna be on my to-do list. December was also kind of more of a to-do list type tending list because I knew December was gonna be crazy anyways. So that's how the monthly action items turned out. Weekly action items, 0. I didn't do any on there. And I have a little bit of a mindset shift for how I'm attacking weekly action items in 2020, and we'll talk about that when we get to January, the daily action items. So even though I went through the effort to rip this out, I like didn't look at it at all. It was stuffed in my daily petite like this, and I just like didn't even touch it. So I'm gonna tell you how I did on each of these. You can't tell from it being checked off. So Vlogmas, oh, it's great. I've uploaded a video every single day for the last 20 days. I should have all those check marks. Advent calendar, same thing. Sometimes I wasn't always great about remembering to open it before work, but I actually think I did it on the actual day, even if it was after work, every single day, which was kind of awesome. If you watch my vlogs, I'm kind of disappointed with 2 of my 3 advent calendars, so that was kind of a bummer, but whatever, it was fun. All right, December daily, I'm actually pretty proud of how I was able to keep up with this, given how much I've had going on, and Vlogmas as well. I should have checks up to day 15. I'm a couple of days behind at this point, but I am planning to catch up before I go out of town. That way, when I come back, I just have to finish what happened while I was gone. So I am very proud of how I kept up with it, and I loved it. So happy with how it turned out. Just a really, really great project. If you're interested in some sort of memory documentation, reminding yourself about the little things in life, especially during this time of year, I highly recommend you look into December Daily for 2020. All right, flossing. I probably deserve like 3 check marks. Maybe not even that. I was so bad about this month, y'all. Just, I don't even know why I put it on there. And then the last one was getting 6 hours of sleep, and that may seem like a weird number, but I talked about it in last month's video where it was sort of a buffer from both ends. I wanted to make sure I wasn't sort of overexerting myself and like getting way less sleep in order to get things done. But on the flip side, there was always something to do, always something to edit. And so I didn't want to like get a lot of sleep. I would rather get consistently 6 hours and keep on top of things. And for the most part, I did a pretty good job of that. Truthfully, I probably got less checks because I got too much sleep, and I would like either snooze or I would just be like, yeah, I'm setting it for 7.5 hours instead of 6. But I probably got like 2/3 of the checks. All right, that's it for December. We're done. That's it for 2019 goals. We are moving in to 2020, and I am so excited about the new power sheets. So like I said, I posted a video last week where I talked about my overarching 2020 goals and then my focuses for the first quarter. And so that is where all of the color coding came in for my January tending list. If you are like, I don't understand why that's a goal, go watch that video, it will be much clearer. But in this video, we're just going to talk about the action items that I have set up for January. So let's start with the top of the page, which is the encouraging words. I've put motivation is what gets you started, habit is what keeps you going. I know how easy it is to feel super motivated because it's the first of the year and there's all these new shiny goals and there's just all this excitement and motivation built into it being a fresh start. And it can be really easy to just lose that motivation very quickly. And so I wanted words to remind me that while the motivation is great and it is definitely giving you energy and like getting you excited, don't forget that that motivation isn't going to be there every day. Like it's probably not even going to be there every other day, and you're going to have other tools in your toolbox to help you keep going. One of those is a habit. So focus on building these habits that are going to make you more successful when the motivation isn't there. And then for the top priority, I put grace. And the reason I put this is because I am super motivated and I'm really excited about this new year and this new month, and I have all these amazing goals, but it's also still a super busy month. I'm out of town until the 7th, and then I'm going out of town immediately that following weekend to speak at the Sunshine State Planners event. And then I might be going out of town another week in January to go visit a family member. So it's gonna be kind of a busy month, and I think I just wanted to remind myself that if you don't get everything done on your list, it's okay. Give yourself a little bit of grace and don't let, you know, the excitement and the busyness and have them just clash and then feeling defeat and just giving up on it all, because I can definitely see that happening. All right, let's start with the monthly action items. I did fill up the entire section this month. I have something on every line, but some of these are like very easy tasks. Like they're not super intense. I really wanted to have it broken down. I think like the most that one of these things is gonna take is maybe a couple of hours, if that. And I'll tell you which ones I think will take more time, but some of them are as little as like 30 minutes. So the first one is a wedding related item, and that is to update and review the task list. So my Q1 goal for the wedding is to complete everything that's on the 12-month plus timeline of the task list. And I pretty much created it, but I want to like review it and see what actually is on the list of all the things that I want to get done over the next 3 months for the wedding, as well as make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So that is the action item that I put on my tending list. Obviously, that's not the only wedding thing I'm gonna get done this month, but actually completing the items on the task list are gonna fall in another way when we get to the weekly section. All right, the next two are my plan with Lakin related goals. So the first one is to go over my 2019 analytics. So I want to just take a snapshot of 2019. How many videos did I upload? What was the average views? What was the average retention? What was the average click-through rate? All the different metrics that I should be looking at on a consistent basis. And at some point this year, I do want to implement a like consistent analytics review. I tried to do that last year too, y'all, if you remember, and it didn't work out so well. So I'm not really sure what the solution is for that yet, but for now, I just want a snapshot of 2019 just to help me get a feel for what went well and what didn't go well in 2019. Then that helps me move on to the next item, which is a 2020 overview. So I'm not gonna plan out all of my content for 2020 in January. That's absurd. But I am going to create an overview, and I'm gonna start putting sticky notes down near things that I know are gonna happen, like the Erin Condren planner launch and different conferences, and just who knows, like there are different things that happen every single year, and I just want to get an overview of what the year could look like, some of the ideas I have over the course of the year, and just starting to see how many empty spaces I have in my content calendar. Okay, the next two are my mental health task items, and they're both related to one little word. And I mentioned this somewhere, I can't remember where, but what I said is if I had space on my tending list, I wanted to split up one little word into two things. One is actually watching the class that Allie Edwards posts each month, which she posts on the first of the month, so I can watch that as soon as the first. And one is actually doing the project. And I was talking to a couple friends, and the actual video could be as short as 15 minutes. So like that one task could be very easy. And then the project is usually an hour or two. So both of those things are pretty minimal in terms of a time commitment, but I still wanted to split them up because I think I will do them at two different times. The recommendation that I got from her Facebook group was to watch the video as early as possible in the month. Like I might even still like watch that while we're out of town, and then do the project when you have time to do the project, but then you let her words sink in over the course of that time, and you can kind of think about what you want to say. So because I'm going to do them at two different times, I put them as two different items. I also have the space. That way I can color in the first one when I do that earlier in the month and feel like that I've made some progress. Okay, the next one is my cooking routine related goal, and that is to organize the recipes in the cookbook. So I have this bin in my kitchen that has all kinds of recipes that I've printed out over the years. It's got a bunch of different cookbooks, and I want to get that all organized. I want to just take out the things I know that I'm never going to look at or read again or cook again, and then I want to start organizing the ones that I'm keeping and figure out what the system is going to look like. It is not going to be done at the end of this month in terms of being filled with ideas. That is a step that I'm going to do later in the quarter. But for now, I at least want the cookbooks that I want to keep in there. Maybe if I have time, flipping through and flagging some of the recipes I either like or I want to try, and then organizing the recipe printouts that I actually have. Some of them are also from like Home Chef or HelloFresh. And I've actually kept all of those, by the way, but I know I don't want to keep them all. There are some of them that I'm not going to try and duplicate, like when it came with ravioli. I'm like, I'm not making that again. But there are some that I actually will try to duplicate, and I want to keep that recipe. Okay, the next one is my friend directory goal. And for January, all I want to do is get all the names in a list. I think I decided in my last video talking through it, I love talking through my goals, was to use a Google Sheets. That way I would have it on my phone whenever I wanted it, but then I also could type on my computer because I do love typing things up. So I think I'm gonna create a Google Sheets, and for now, I'm just gonna work on the names. I just wanna make sure that there's anybody and any relationship, big or small, that I want to work on, which is all of them. I want to work on all of them. But like, even if I feel like our relationship's in a really good place, like some of my close friends, like I feel like our relationship's in a good place, it doesn't mean I can't tend to that relationship too. So I want to get all the names down, all the friends in my life. I want to get them in a spreadsheet. Even ones that I feel like I may have distanced from recently, but that I would like to get closer to in the future. All right, the next one is related to my purge goal, and I realize I didn't elaborate a ton last week on this goal when I said that the goal was to purge and document my wardrobe, but then I never really talked about the documentation aspect of it, and so some of you were probably a little confused by that. So I want to elaborate a little bit. There is a shop. She is in the planner community and she makes all kinds of different printables. She makes like holiday ones and just all kinds of different things. And Nina had talked about her before and posted about her shop. And one of the things that she created recently was a closet wardrobe documentation set where you are writing down or printing pictures and documenting everything that is part of your wardrobe. And part of the reason I'm doing this is because I think it'll make me think twice before I keep something. Like if I am gonna be writing it down on a piece of paper, it better be something that I really like. The other reason is I think it will let me get a full snapshot of what my wardrobe looks like, what might be missing, what is kind of my vibe, etc. So all I'm trying to do in January, because I know January is busy and I'm not even gonna attempt to touch the actual clothes, is just set up that documentation. So the shop was kind enough to actually send me the files, and because I said I was gonna use them or I was excited about it, she's like, well, I'm happy to send them to you if you're gonna share them. And I was like, yeah, I want to share them because I'm gonna use them. So what I wanna do in January is just figure out what I'm gonna store it in, whether that's a folder or a binder, and then print them out and have them ready to go. That way when I start working on the purge, and the way I'm kind of thinking about it is I have it all set up in January, February, I'll either do the closet or the dresser, and then March, I'll do the other one. And that's how I will get through my clothes in quarter 1. All right, the last two are my memory keeping crafting goal. And the first one is to finish December daily. So I know that I'm not going to be done because I'm not taking any products with me, and there's still going to be 5 days of December daily that happen while I'm in Chicago. I'm still going to make a mental note of what story I want to tell. I might take notes in my phone about which pictures I'm going to use, what sizes I'm thinking, and then when I get home, I want to make sure that I finish that in January. And then the other piece of that is I want to get all the rest of the 2019 stuff that I want to finish organized. Basically since like August, I've just been kind of stuffing it in this one corner of my living room. All the things that I brought back from India, all the things I brought back from Seattle, it's just a disaster. And I've just been kind of putting it over there, and I just want to get that organized so that when I get to February and March, when I'm actually going to work on finishing my 2019 memory keeping, it's all ready to go. Whew, that's a lot of monthly action items, I know. But again, I actually think it's doable. I actually do think that it's attainable and realistic. And I personally like having action items from a bunch of different goal categories. I know that some people like to be a little bit more focused and say like, okay, well in January, I'm only gonna focus on like these 3 goals. I would get bored and I would get frustrated, and I need a little bit more variety. Basically, there's only one goal that didn't get a monthly action item, and that's because it has 2 of the daily ones. All right, weekly action items. So let me first talk about how I'm kind of shifting my mindset on this a little bit. If you watched last year's videos, I struggled with the weekly items. I felt like everything I put in my weekly section last year fell into one of 2 categories. It was either something that I actually kind of wanted to do daily, or it could be beneficial to do it daily, but I wasn't ready to commit to doing it daily. Or it was something that I could have just made a one-time thing that month and spent a larger amount of time on it, but I thought it would be better to break it up into smaller chunks and do it over like once a week. It was very rarely what I think it actually should be and what I think might work better for me, and that is things that you only need to do once a week. So for example, one of the things on my list this month is meal planning. That is something that realistically you only need to do once a week. That's the kind of thing that I think needs to be on my weekly action items list. And I also think I need to, as best as I can, assign it a specific day that I'm gonna do it. Now, sometimes that might change, right? I'm gonna say that I'm gonna meal plan on Sundays and that's gonna be the plan. That might not always happen. So I have to, be okay with being flexible. But for the most part, I'm going to try to assign a day to all of my weekly action items. So let's start going through them. The first one is Wedding Wednesdays, and that is how I'm gonna tackle the task list. So I love alliterations around here. You probably know that. And we talked in the live about maybe replacing one of the weekly plan with me's with Wedding Wednesday and giving you an update on where I'm at with wedding planning. But I think Wedding Wednesdays could be a really great option just for me. And so I thought about taking that alliteration and basically breaking down my wedding task list and attacking it from a weekly basis, which is kind of the opposite of what I just talked about with the weekly, but hear me out for a second. If I tried to sit down and spend like 8 hours one weekend, like powering through wedding stuff that I needed to get done that month, I would be annoyed. I would be frustrated, and that just wouldn't work for me. But if I spend 2 hours a week on Wednesdays working on it, I think it's just much more attainable. I can go through the emails. We have a wedding email, so I can go through the wedding emails. I can just, whatever is next on the task list, I'm just gonna work on that. So I think I'm gonna also try and like treat myself a little bit and maybe go like splurge somewhere, go to a cute coffee shop or a cute wine bar, like a little restaurant or something. I'm also maybe gonna try and pull in my significant other. There's no chance I'm gonna get him to do this every week, probably. But what I'm gonna ask him is if he can join me for one a month. If once a month, Wedding Wednesdays can be a joint effort and I can go through with him some of the decisions that, you know, I want his input on, etc. Then the other Wednesdays will be me doing research, responding to emails. So that's my plan. We'll see how it goes in January and see if it works. All right, the next 3 are my YouTube ones. And I talked about this in last week's video, but establishing a YouTube routine to me looks like the video is ready to go, done, doesn't need any additional touches, 24 hours before it's set to go live. And since I post at noon, it's noon the day before, which basically means I'm not working on it the night before, because that stresses me out. Because if something goes wrong and I have to redo things, then it just messes with my schedule and my sleep, and just, it's not good. So I want to really focus on getting them up 24 hours in advance. So what I decided to put on my tending list was list Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, having the video up 24 hours in advance. And I get the check mark if by noon on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, the video is ready to go. We'll see how it goes. I think the check mark accountability definitely is something that I, you know, I'm accountable to. I like getting that check mark. So we'll see if this helps me. But I think that I'm such a procrastinator. I know sometimes it might seem like I'm not, but I am definitely a procrastinator, and I don't want that anymore, especially with the YouTube videos. Okay, the last 2 are both health related. So the first one we already talked about, that was meal planning. The goal is on Sundays to sit down and meal plan and get that all set up. And then the last one is cheating a little bit. So one of the reasons why I did the quarterly goals is so that I could stay focused on those quarterly goals and not get distracted by all the other things that I wanted to do related to that overarching goal, right? So the overarching goal is physical health. And the thing I'm focusing on in quarter 1 is my cooking routine and my eating habits. So really, there shouldn't be anything fitness related on my tending list. However, right after we got engaged, I bought a very large class package to one of my favorite dance workout studios here in the city called 305 Fitness. And it expires in April. And I need to get on that. And I don't have to go every single week from now until then in order to use them all, but I have to go a lot of them. So I went ahead and cheated a little bit and put this on and gave it the health color, even though it doesn't really fit into my quarter 1 goals, but it does fit into the overall theme. And I think I just want to, you know, kind of reiterate that it's okay to give yourself a little bit of flexibility, right? I have this very specific quarter 1 focus, and that's the majority of my focus this month. I'm not saying I want to work out a certain number of times a week. I'm going to schedule workouts, but if I skip them, there's no real check mark holding me accountable. But this check mark, kind of more about finances than it is about fitness. All right, the daily action items is my favorite section. So the first one is wedding related, and it's washing my face. And I could have put that in physical health. I probably could have put that in mental health. It is a wedding related goal because I want to make sure that I take care of my skin between now and the wedding. I mean, and for the rest of my life, but also for the wedding. All right, the next one is YouTube related, and it is to respond to YouTube comments once a day. And that's it. This is not there to say like, don't forget to respond to comments. That is not my problem. I love being in the comments with you. I love reading your comments, and I love it. I love responding, and I try to respond to every single comment. The problem is I check the YouTube app and I check for new comments like I check every other social media app. I go look at YouTube comments like I click Instagram or like I click Facebook. It's like a trifecta. I check all 3. And that's not good. I don't need to be doing that. I don't need to be in the comments that many times a day. It's just not, it's not productive. So I get to check the comments once a day. And once I've checked the comments that day, I'm gonna try not to check them again. And I'm not gonna check it off after the first time because that's kind of cheating, because then I could just check them again. Oh, I already got the check mark. No, I'm gonna check it off at the end of the day if I only checked and responded to comments once. Now, I have no idea what time of day is gonna be best for this. That's gonna be a learning curve that I'll figure out, but once a day. All right, the next one is the meal related cooking one, and that is to actually follow the meal plan. My eating habits are not because I can't make a plan, or because I can't go grocery shopping, or because I can't cook. I'm not a great cook, but I can cook. It's because I ignore the plan. And I'm like, that chicken and broccoli, that doesn't sound as good as going downstairs and getting a hamburger, or going out to eat lunch with my friends, spur of the moment. If I eat what was planned for lunch and dinner, I get the check mark. All right, the last two are my morning routine related goals. Now, I also am starting with my morning routine book. That's the first book that I'm trying to read this quarter. I didn't include any of, well, I did actually, you'll see, the reading goals is kind of embedded into this one, but I didn't actually put like which books I'm reading and checking them off because I don't know how long it's gonna take me and how many I'm gonna finish in a month, etc. So I did not incorporate that. But the last two are related to my morning routine, and the first one is no snooze button. I was torn here because I know that making things more positive, like saying I'm gonna get up at a certain time, is a better outlook than saying I'm not gonna hit the snooze button. But the problem is I am not super good about consistently going to bed at the same time every night and consistently getting up at the same time every morning. And I know that the solution to a good morning routine is a good night routine, but I'm starting with the morning routine, which might be a little counterintuitive. But establishing my morning routine isn't necessarily about the time that I wake up and sticking to that schedule. It's about the things I do when I wake up. And so the first thing I want to do when I wake up is not go back to sleep. So I'm going to make a goal in January not to hit the snooze button. And having my phone out here definitely helps. And then it takes a lot more work to then snooze it and then go back to bed. But I can't say I've never done that because I definitely do it. And then the last one is to read in the morning. And I didn't put any restrictions on what kind of book or how long or any of those things. As long as I read at least a page of a book, I get the check mark. And that's just to get me back into my reading groove of reading in the mornings and then making progress on the reading goals that I've set. That's it, I'm done. Holy moly, that was a lot. So I'm not gonna have a super long outro because otherwise we're gonna be here forever and a day. But I am so excited for January, and I'm so excited to share all of my progress with you and to not forget my word of the year, which is love. Let me know in the comments, did you pick a word of the year? I wanna know what it is and how you're incorporating that into your life in 2020. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you so much for watching. Happy planning. That's not the name of the conference, Lincoln. Update and review the task list. And I'm blaming that one on UPS, not UPS. It wasn't them. It wasn't their fault. Just have to finish what I, like, what? My throat is so dry. All right, the next one is to, what goal is this? This video is gonna be so long.